Welcome to WAC Basketball on the American Sports Network as Utah Valley heads on the road to Las Cruces, New Mexico, and the New Mexico State Aggies. Hi, WAC fans. I'm Mark Adams, and welcome to the American Sports Network. This game, it's all about the transfer effect. When I was in coaching, I enjoyed coaching transfers. Why? They typically came from the School of Hard Knocks just like me, and so I thought I could coach these guys. One of those guys that's been to that School of Hard Knocks is Utah Valley's Mitch Bruneel. He's a senior out of Boise, Idaho. Bruneel played 1 year at Utah State and then 1 season at one of the best junior colleges in the country, the College of Southern Idaho, where they won a national junior college championship. Bruneel brings defensive grit to Utah Valley as the reigning WAC Defensive Player of the Year. He's also a solid double-figure scorer and dependable rebounder at 6'5". Bruneel is one of 9 transfers on Dick Hunsacker's Utah Valley team. New Mexico State, watch D.K. Eldridge. Eldridge, another transfer when he led New Mexico Junior College to the JUCO National Tournament 2 seasons ago. He has blended in quite nicely at New Mexico State. Last season, he made all-WAC newcomer team, and this season has been solid for Coach Marvin Menzies. My prediction for the score in a big WAC matchup, New Mexico State 70, Utah Valley 55. Get ready for some wild WAC basketball. Utah Valley at New Mexico State on the American Sports Network, starting right now.
People talk about college like you're in some kind of bubble. Like there's college, and then there's the real world. Hey, this is UVU. You're not just reading about it or watching someone else do it. This is engaged learning. At the certificate, associate's, bachelor's, or master's level, you're in the real world every day.
League play is heating up in the Western Athletic Conference. Tonight, the Wolverines and the Aggies look to slam home a victory. WAC basketball starts now on the American Sports Network. And we're in the Pan American Center in Las Cruces tonight for WAC basketball on ASN. The Utah Valley Wolverines visiting the New Mexico State Aggies. And welcome to Las Cruces. Dave Barnett along with Joe Cravens. 2 teams coming off easy wins on Thursday night. 2 teams that do it completely differently.
Well, the Aggies want to really get up and down the floor and score as many as they possibly can. The Wolverines from Utah Valley State, on the other hand, want to make it a low-scoring, low-possession game.
Best news in conference play for the Wolverines is the emergence of Dante Williams.
Dante Williams really heating up in these last 3 games. Over 15 points for the last 3, coming off a career high 23.
And for the Aggies, the really good news is the return after 6 weeks out with a broken finger of last season's WAC Player of the Year, Daniel Mullings.
Well, Mullings made his first appearance last Thursday coming off the bench, scoring 17 points in 21 minutes.
And the starters for Utah Valley will feature Marcel Davis, Dante Williams, joined by Mitch Bruneel. Their leading scorer at about 13 points per game. Their leading rebounder at 6.4 per game, along with Zach Nelson and Boston Gubler, a 6'8" freshman up front. New Mexico State will, again, for the second game back for Daniel Mullins, bring him off the bench, and they'll start this group. DK Eldridge, Ian Baker, and a big front line of Remy Berry, 6'9" Pascal Siakam, tremendous shot blocker from Cameroon, and the 6'10" senior from South Africa, Chilezi Napawe, better known and more easily pronounced as Chile Napawe.
We're going to go with that.
We'll go with Chile.
We'll go with Chile.
A very international flavor for the Aggie team, assembled by Marvin Menzies, with Siakam from Cameroon, Napawe from South Africa, Remy Berry from Paris, France. Mullins hails from Toronto, and a couple other Canadians and another Frenchman on the Aggie roster.
9 international players on this Aggie roster, 5 from Toronto. Who would have ever thought that they'd built a subway, so to speak, from Toronto all the way to Las Cruces, New Mexico?
Well, if you have the right contacts and coaching, you can do that, and that's what Marvin Menzies has put together over his career.
It's a long pipeline that reaches all the way to the Canadian border.
Reaches all the way to Africa.
Some great looking athletes on this team, I'll tell you. You look at the Poway, he looks like a young Karl Malone. What a great body. Long, athletic across the perimeter. And you can see why they're picked #1 in the WAC right now.
They are tied for first in the WAC after a 3-1 start, along with Seattle U, Utah Valley, and Grand Canyon, along with Missouri, Kansas City, in a 3-way tie for third place, off to 2-1 starts. It's just the third meeting all time between these two, with New Mexico State winning big, and then Utah Valley coming back in the most recent meeting. That was an overtime game in Orem, Utah.
Well, like I said, you look at those scores and see when the Aggies score a lot of points, that's when they're at their best. Dick Hunsaker is going to do his best to turn this into a half-court game.
Our officials are Ruben Ramos, Kurt Walker, and Wilson Holland. And we are underway in Las Cruces, and the Wolverines control the tap.
Look for them to be very deliberate in this first possession here. Try to kind of set the tempo of the game.
Williams into the corner for Brunel, right up with the 3.
So much for being really deliberate. Unless you're Mitch Brunel and you catch it and you have a good look. Their leading scorer at 13-5.
DK Eldridge right down the answer with a straight-on 3-pointer.
Both those kids coming off, both Eldridge and Brunel, off bad shooting games in their last game. DK Eldridge only 1 field goal when they put that thrashing on Grand Canyon College.
85-63 on Thursday. Utah Valley the same night beating UT Pan American 72-54. They have given Seattle its only loss. Utah Valley's loss was to Grand Canyon. And Dante Williams launching from the corner. It's the corner of the backboard with the shot clock at 4. And New Mexico State with the stop.
Dante Williams is a guy who's had the hot hand for the Wolverines his last 3, averaging over 15 and having a career high 23 down at Texas Pan American.
Here is Siakam, in just his first year of organized basketball after redshirting here last year. Eldridge again left alone, straight on, and he's 2 for 2.
Well, the Wolverines are going to come double a low post catch, and that's left Eldridge open a couple times. They will also back off of Siakam when he's got the ball high and try to double up low off of him.
Siakam with the hook over Nelson, and the rebound pulled down by Gubler. The Wolverines will not be able to afford is turning the ball over against the more athletic New Mexico State team. And they have turned it over slightly more than they have forced turnovers this year.
New Mexico State in their patented or their staple matchup zone defense with those long arms
under Dick Hunsaker, his 13th year. They are the defending regular season WAC champions. 13-3 last year, 20 wins, second time in the last 3 seasons, first ever trip to the NIT. Another turnover, Eldridge saving it in the corner, but in doing so, the only nearby body was that of Brunel. And Zach Nelson from the corner.
Nelson actually their center at 6'7", but he shoots a lot of three-point shots. Not shooting a great percentage there, right at 29, but he'll hit them if he's left wide open. Talking about turnovers, that Utah Valley can ill afford empty possessions here. It's the Aggies who've had trouble holding on to the ball, averaging 14.5 turnovers a game.
Jumper on the baseline, knocked down by Napawe. This 4 weeks show the deep bone bruise in his foot suffered in the offseason. This is his 4th game back. And a timeout called by Dick Hunsaker.
Boy, that was a pretty smooth move by the big Napawe at 6'10", 268. He's made that look pretty easy. Marvin
Menzies in his 8th year. 4 WAC titles in the last 5 years, including 3 straight. 26-10 last year. His 5th 20-win season. Lost to the NCAAs in overtime to San Diego State, 73-69, a school for which he served as an assistant, 99-03.
Both these coaches with great resumes. Marvin Menzies as an assistant coach and a long-time assistant coach was a renowned recruiter. How about this lineage of guys he worked under? Rick Pitino, Steve Fisher, Lon Kruger. I mean, he's been around some great coaches. Dick Hunsaker, 21 years as a Division I head coach.
Marcel Davis, junior from American Fork, Utah. Getting it across and down under, going baseline is Brunel.
Nice job by the Wolverines, not just breaking the press, but making them pay for it. A lot of times you have a tendency to break the press and then bring it back out and run offense. They took advantage of the Aggies being out of position.
Remy Berry misfiring from deep.
Berry, one of the best three-point shooters, not just in the WAC, but in the entire nation at 6'8".
52% from beyond the arc. On the baseline, rimming out Brendan Evans, who came in during the timeout. Evans, a senior from Sonora, California.
Evans had started 12 games. I think they've gone with the youngster Googler to give him more size in the last couple games. Googler is a big, strong, tough kid. Doesn't score a lot, but takes up room in the post.
And Daniel Mullings also in off the bench, and his first shot comes up short. Mullings, last year's WAC Player of the Year, this season's preseason favorite to repeat that honor.
Boy, he's in more top 10 school record lists than you can shake a stick at. He already leads the all-time record in steals, 8th in scoring.
Great feed by Marcel Davis, shoveling it underneath to Brunel.
Marcel Davis is a very seasoned point guard. Played 2 years up in Logan, Utah for the Utah State Aggies and got big-time minutes and big-time starts there. He knows how to play and how to run a team. 2nd in the league in assists, 2nd in turnover to assist ratio.
Berry missing again from 3, and Davis bringing it up. Brunel all 7 Wolverine points in the first 5+ minutes. And goes baseline again, draws a crowd, gets it out to Williams, an athletic move hurdling toward the paint, and the turnover. 14-50 with the offensive foul on Dante Williams in a 7-7 game.
It's 3 p.m. For 50 million kids across America, school's out. And for a third of these kids, they're out on their own. Out with nowhere to go and nothing to do. But every afternoon is a chance to change America's future. All you have to do is open the door. It's time to support the Boys and Girls Clubs. Great futures start here.
I've got a job to do today.
I've got a job to do today.
Have a good first day at work, Mom.
Your donations to Goodwill fund job training programs right in your community.
Feels good to start fresh, right?
Sure does.
And like that, you're a job creator.
The next 30 seconds can save you a lot of money. Just do your laundry in cold and stick to full loads. Auto-sleep your computers. Plug your gadgets in a power strip and switch it off when you're done. Headed out? Turn back your thermostat by 10 degrees. And drive sensibly. The more energy you save, the more money you save. Find other great tips at energysaver.gov.
College basketball on the American Sports Network is brought to you by CokeCareers.com.
Inside the Pan American Center, Las Cruces, New Mexico. Dave Barnett and Joe Cravens at a 7-7 start. New Mexico State scoreless for about 2.5 minutes now as they try to solve Mitch Brunel, who has hit all 3 of his shots so far, including 1 from 3 to score all 7 Wolverine points.
Well, it's Aggies 7, Mitch Brunel 7. They've got to find him in their matchup zone defense. Brunel's one of those kids that you say has a good feel for the game. He can find those gaps. He has a nice, quick jump shot. And a couple times he's gotten kind of up in those gaps. And again, the Aggies are going to have to kind of tag him and figure out where he's at.
And at some point, they'll hope to get Daniel Mullings started. Second straight game for him back from missing 6 weeks after surgery for a broken finger. Had some pins placed in to aid the healing. And he launches it, hits a 3.
You know, it's interesting. Mullings does not have a classic-looking jump shot, you know, where you could do like an instructional video or give lessons. He kind of flings it up there, but nonetheless, very effective with it.
10-second violation, and the press produces a turnover.
Dick Hunsaker not very happy with his team there, although the shot clock starts at 35 and there's 25 on it, so I'm not sure whether he was unhappy with his team or the referee at that time.
4th turnover for Utah Valley. And Mullings getting it to Siakam, who winds his way toward the layup, and now Hunsaker will call a second timeout, and he is raging at the official. I think still over the 10-second call.
Well, again, I don't know that he has an argument there because it was on the shot clock. It starts at 35 and was at 25 when they called the 10-second call. So
unless he thought they had it over half court.
Yeah, that could be, and that might have been the case. But as mad as you get and as much you argue, I've never seen one of those guys in the striped shirts turn one around and say, yeah, you know what, coach, you're right. Let's redo that.
You may have a point there.
Yeah, so you might as well give up the fight. A little bit like arguing with your wife. If you think you're going to win that one, you better.
Never yet.
Let's see. Great penetration by Mullings there. One of the all-time assist guys that was way before that on the 10-second call.
So now, after the timeout, the Aggies reset the full court pressure. The three-quarter court has done some damage, and they come away with another takeaway here. DK Eldridge.
Boy, Eldridge is long on the front of that press of theirs. They list him 6'2". He looks more like he's about 6'4" with long arms to me.
Mullings drives, feeds DK. And he runs out the three-pointer, and here's Dante Williams.
The Aggies on a 5-0 run. Remember, it was 7-7 after the last timeout.
Williams ends it, and was he fouled in the process? He was. Eldridge's first.
Boy, that was a nice looking middle game jump shot. Coaches call that. A lot of guys can shoot it deep or get it to the basket. Look, this nice tight shot fake, one dribble pull up. Boy, that was classic. He was 7 for 8 from the field in the game down at Texas Pan American. 4 of 4 from the three-point line. He can really get it going offensively.
He's their best free throw shooter, and he completes the three-point play. So the Wolverines within 2. Jonathan Wilkins, 6'10" redshirt freshman from Lille, France, off the bench now for Marvin Menzies. He's manning the middle. Mullings shovels it to him, tried to reverse it. Siakam there for the putback and the foul.
Siakam is having an amazing year for the freshman, leading the league in blocks. The most impressive thing to me is that he is averaging 3.5 offensive rebounds a game. Well, what great hands there, kind of pulling that out of the crowd. And you think of a guy being a great rebounder, being a great leaper. That was a great rebound. He didn't leave the floor. He was just in the right place. Marvin Menzies talking about what a great instinctive feel this kid has for such a early age. He redshirted here last year, but Coach Menzies says he gets better virtually every week.
Paid his own way as a non-qualifier, not because his grades weren't good enough. The classes didn't match up with the requirements. Stolen, Siakam underneath. Mullings fouled on the spin follow attempt.
Wow.
So Pascal Siakam causing offensive and defensive havoc.
Well, quick off that steal, and then the Aggies just attacking the offensive board there, doing what all good teams do. They could have said, well, this looks like a sure layup. You need to follow every layup. And boy, they do with 2 guys, and Mullings finding his way to the free throw line. He's one of the guys, I keep saying he's on more top 10 lists here in Aggie basketball than you can shake a stick at. He's one of the leading free throw attempt guys in school history. And remember, he just missed the last 12 games. All he has to do is score 11 more points tonight to go from 8th on the all-time scoring list to 6th. And again, think where he'd be if he had played these last 12 games.
You said career steals leader, 8 points, 8 assists, 3rd in free throws made and attempted. He makes both of these attempts. 5 off the bench, 7-point lead. That's the biggest so far. And the foul was Nelson's second, and he's stripped by Eldridge. To Mullings, the scoop, rebounded by Siakam, and a hell ball. Dick Hunsaker had to be holding his breath, hoping that Nelson didn't have to pick up his 3rd foul with 12:37 to go, and he didn't.
Just quick hands on that. Boy, you've got to be strong with the ball versus that front line of the press. Now remember, about 6 plays ago, when they broke the press, they got an easy basket at the other end. Usually teams are pressure. If you can get by that first wave of pressure, you can get a good shot, but getting by that first wave of pressure tonight has been challenging for the Wolverines.
Hunsaker now able to get Nelson out. And Alex Carr in. A little smaller. Siakam is fouled. Austin Gubler, the freshman from the Birkin, Utah, picks up his first.
Boy, Siakam, what a tight game he has for a guy 6'9", 230. That was a great shot fake and a first step to the basket. That looked like he was about a 6'4" wing player there. Man, I can see why this kid, as a freshman, has made such an impact on WAC basketball.
Warm reception as he checks out and Remy Berry checks back in. And Menzies wants a timeout. With a 17-10 lead.
Marvin Menzies has done a terrific job kind of keeping his team together through Nepalway and Mullings' injuries. Both of them have missed 12 games. Now remember, Mullings was picked as a conference player of the year, and Nepalway in the first team all-conference, they actually missed 10 games at the same time. So you're talking about 2 of the best players in the league out of your lineup. They went 6-4 in those games, and again, I really tip my hat to Marvin Menzies to keeping his team together and keeping them competitive with those 2 kids out of the lineup.
And they're still waiting for Tanvir Bular, a huge body 7'3", 250-ish to get the go-ahead to return. They think that his ankle will be healed enough that he may be only a week from returning. That'll be one of the biggest teams in the country when they add Boulard that mix down low.
Well, they're not just big, they're athletic to go with that size. A lot of times you find guys that have great size and, you know, just can't run or don't have quick feet. Boy, this group would be a pretty good track team.
In the corner, a miss by Mullins. And Utah Valley just get some shots up. They turned it over 7 times and outscored 7-0 off those turnovers. The difference in the game in the first 8+ minutes.
Well, that's the Aggies calling card. I talked about their turnovers at 14+, but boy, they play exciting basketball. You turn it over, they attack the basket on offense.
Gubler lets fly from the baseline, and Remy Berry pulls it down.
Boston Gubler, the big freshman from Hurricane, Utah, kind of getting quite an experience here tonight, playing in the Pan Am Center against this type of size and experience.
Driving jam after the second Aggie turnover. Dante Williams with the big finish. And he's got 5, and he and Brunel the only Wolverines to have scored at this point. We're almost halfway done with the first half. Here's Wilkins. Eldridge, senior out of Dallas. Left alone in the corner. And drops in his second 3. Eldridge, preseason second team All-WAC.
He was on the newcomer team last year in the WAC in his first year out of New Mexico Junior College. He's had 3 games in his career where he's had 7 3-point shots made. These 2 guards well, 3 guards actually, with Baker, Eldridge, and Mullins, aren't just good offensive players. Boy, they are hawks out there at the defense.
Turnover number 8 for the Wolverines. DK Eldridge, 3 out of 5, 2 threes, 8 points, 3 steals. Aggies by 8.
Hey, Banks, have a seat and let me make you uncomfortable. Up those grades, son, or the only position you'll be playing in college is sitting on me. You're still awake? Have a seat on old Mr. Bench. At least your buns will fall asleep.
Is this the one about the high school hotshot who gets benched in college?
Hey, Manty, move down.
It's a tearjerker!
All New Mexico State the first 10 minutes here in Las Cruces, leading 20-12. The press producing lots of turnovers and easy points off those turnovers.
With Daniel Mullins, him coming back to the lineup adds more than just offense. The all-time career leader in steals and just keeps adding to that school record book. Boy, he does a lot of things for this Aggie team.
AP honorable mention All-America pick last year. Averaged nearly 17 per game. He's under 14 per game now that he is healthy again. But he returned Thursday, 21 minutes off the bench, 17 points, 5 assists.
Well, he puts numbers up in a hurry. We were talking about his steals. He's only played 8 minutes, and he has 3 steals already.
It was 17 points Thursday on 5 field goal attempts. He hit 4. He got to the line and hit 8 out of 10 from there.
Like all good scorers, he has a knack for getting himself to the free throw line.
3-pointers falling in one after another. This one by Ian Baker, who has been hitting 50% from 3 over his last 5 games. The lead now in double digits.
Ian Baker was averaging a little under 10 in the Aggies regular season games. He's up that to almost 14 in league games. I'm always impressed with that, Dave, when you look at a guy whose stats go up in league play as opposed to down.
The first shot off the bench for Jaden Jackson. Wolverines maintain the possession. And left alone is Brendan Evans, and he drops in a 3. Joe, the good news for Utah Valley, they're shooting 55%. The bad news is they only have 11 shots up because of their 8 turnovers.
Because of the turnovers. And like I said, against all high-pressure teams, if you can take care of the ball, you're going to get good shots. But again, taking care of the ball is the first and foremost challenge. That was a terrific draw and kick by Marcel Davis. Driving into the gap of that zone and finding his teammate out around the 3-point line.
Shot clock down to 6. Remy Berry comes up, calls for it, gets his first 2.
Remy Berry leading this team in scoring, was 0 for 2 before that. Boy, I mean, their size is just unbelievable. Remy Bailey, really the small forward for this team at 6'8", 225.
Would be the default center on a lot of teams around the country. Marcel Davis draws contact, but not a call. And here comes Eldridge with the board. Aggies share the ball. And an athletic finish going baseline.
That was a great decision. The first guy who got that off that long pass was Ian Baker. He passed up a good shot to get his team a great shot. Got the ball reversed, got a couple more passes. Boy, they are really playing well together tonight.
Marcel Davis found himself a good spot, couldn't finish. Can't hit the follow. Siakam clears out to Eldridge, who's already exceeded his per-game average, which is 9. He has 10. Still well over 7 minutes to go in the half.
You know, as Dick Hunsaker was preparing his team today, and it was a terrific walkthrough, boy, when he talked, every eye and every ear was on him. But you prepare for a team, and you think, okay, where can we cheat? Who can we cheat off of? I'm not sure you can cheat off of anyone on this Aggie team.
Siakam unable to save the miss by Baker. 6:57 to go, first half. Everything clicking for Berry and New Mexico State.
Good sportsmanship isn't defined by a scoreboard.
It isn't defined by how high you jump or how fast you can run.
Good sportsmanship is all about character.
It is about doing your best for your coaches and teammates.
It is about having respect for your opponents, the officials, and the fans.
Good sportsmanship is winning with class and losing with dignity.
It's fair play, perseverance, and team spirit.
Good sportsmanship is what unites us.
We are the Western Athletic Conference.
Snow on the ground in the Las Cruces area here in the land of enchantment, where New Mexico State has a 12-point lead, 6:57 to go in the half. Aggies have knocked down 4 of their last 5 with a couple of threes mixed in. Utah Valley, 1 of its last 5. And now 6 of 14 to New Mexico State's 10 of 21 from the field.
What a great basketball venue this is, Dave, the Pan American Center. And obviously the Aggies very effective here in their last 50 games. Here they've won 46 of them. They've won 23 straight WAC games, but this is just not a bad seat in the house. A lot of tradition here. This is just a neat basketball community and university.
They play on Lou Henson Court as Dante Williams with 7 now has matched Brunil, who got 7. Their first 7 points, has not scored since.
Dante Williams, very efficient with his movement with the ball. Doesn't waste a lot of dribbles. Real nice tight shot fake and nice pull-up.
Jonathan Wilkins misses from up high. And Wolverines out of control trying to run. Williams has it stripped by Mullings. Daniel Mullings hangs in the air, double clutches. Siakam keeps it alive. Mullings! And finally cleared by Zach Nelson, who was returned playing with 2 fouls. Brunil, offensive foul.
Utah Valley doing a pretty good job of getting that ball along the baseline there, but having a hard time finishing once it gets there.
Here's 1, 2, 3, 4 chances inside of 5 feet, all turned away.
I'm not too sure the Aggies' best offense isn't to just get it up there on the glass and let those piranhas go fetch it, as coaches say, because boy, they really go after
it. 6'10" Wilkins, 6'9" Siakam. Down low with Baker, Mullings, and Berry outside. Mullings with a push foul. I think they're going to get on Williams, trying to position for the defensive rebound. That's Dante's second.
Well, if you're the undersized Wolverines, you're doing anything you can to keep this group off the glass. I mean, look at their size there now. 6'8", 6'9", 6'10", all athletic with long arms. The one thing that the Wolverines are trying to cheat a little bit on, when Jonathan Wilkins gets the ball on the perimeter, they're backing way off of him.
Siakam served up by Mullings. And Pascal was 7.
Anytime you let the ball get dribbled to the paint, bad things happen if you're on defense, and that forced a help situation, and Siakam finished the deal. Watch Mullings getting the ball to the paint, causing a help situation, and Siakam. Tell you, I can see why he's such a great rebounder. He's got great hands. That was not an easy pass to catch there. It was a good pass, but it didn't bounce very high. He caught that around his knees and made it look pretty easy. Not every big guy can do that.
Evans almost dragged the pivot foot. Defense lobbied for it, didn't get that call. And Williams missing from way outside. Mullings 1 for 7. 5 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds. The shots, a lot of them have been off balance on drives.
He's a little tired right now. He's kind of sucking wind, and you can run when you're hurt, but running and being in game shape is 2 different things. I don't think he's in very good game shape right now.
Although the advantage of it being a broken finger and not a leg or a foot or an ankle is he was able to.
Yeah, you can
keep the wind up. Right. That's different from game shape.
Right. He has been conditioning, but again, it's a little different. You put people in the stands, and it's going up and down. But they have a terrific 3-guard rotation with Baker, Eldridge, and Mullings. I'm not exactly sure which one of those kids, Baker, who's been terrific, DK Eldridge, a second-team all-WAC selection in the preseason, which one of those guys are going to come out of the lineup to allow Mullings back in, or whether Coach Mincy is going to continue to bring Mullings off the bench.
Berry dumps it for the Poway to hammer home.
Remy Berry showing he's much more than a shooter and a scorer. That was a nice pass. Once again, the Wolverines letting the ball get dribbled into the paint.
Brunel misses from the corner. Their danger in Utah Valley trying to play New Mexico State pace, which they have the last 2 or 3 possessions.
Well, I think that's one of the things that the pressure and the press does to you. It speeds you up. They may not get steals, but Brunel then taking a quick shot, in the back of your mind, you're thinking we may not get a better shot than this, so it causes you to play a little quicker or a lot quicker than what you'd like to.
Not that time for Remy Berry. 4 rebounds, 3 assists for Berry, but 1 for 4 from the field. Near 3 minutes to go in the half.
New Mexico State's 2-3 matchup starts out as almost a 1-3-1. It's a 1-1-3, as coaches call it, and they really extend those wings and push you way, way out on the court.
Eldridge all alone. Nelson hustles down to get the rebound after staring a hole through a couple of officials after he took the hard landing last time down here. He thought surely he had been fouled, as the turnaround misses by Jackson. Knocked back out to him. Nelson left alone for 3. We are almost, well, we're 17 and a half minutes into this game. New Mexico State has been called for 1 foul. Next foul on Utah Valley will put the Aggies into the bonus.
The Aggies kind of slowing the tempo now down, trying to get the ball inside a little more.
And this, a travel on the Poway. 2:15 remaining in the half. Biggest lead of the game for the Aggies right now. The Poway has made it 14.
It's 3 p.m. For 50 million kids across America, school's out. And for a third of these kids, they're out on their own. Out with nowhere to go and nothing to do. But every afternoon is a chance to change America's future. All you have to do is open the door. It's time to support the Boys and Girls Clubs. Great futures start here.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs.
Coming up at the half, we will head to the ASN studios as Nick Schaefer and Mark Adams give us the latest score standings schedules from all around the nation. We'll have highlights and stats from the first half here in Las Cruces. All that and more here on the American Sports Network. All Aggies. A 14-point lead. Overpowering size, athleticism. Utah Valley just trying to get shots off has been
a challenge.
It's been an accomplishment. Their last basket, Joe, 6:46 remaining, so about 4.5 minutes plus.
I was just getting ready to say they haven't scored since Moby Dick was a minnow. They're shooting 33% now, and they've had some pretty good looks. But again, you get the feeling that the pressure has sped them up, so to speak.
Jaden Jackson puts down a three-pointer.
He needed that in a big way.
Gone right at about 5 minutes. Berry tried to grab his own miss. Evans took it away.
That's a nice job of the Aggies getting that ball to what coaches call the short corner there, about a step off the block. And when you get that, boy, the whole floor kind of opens up before you. And Berry with a nice cut then down the lane to get one right at the basket. He couldn't convert it there, but I like the way they're attacking Dick Hunsaker in their zones. They've not played much zone, but they've had trouble matching up to the Aggies in their man-to-man.
Marcel Davis early on in the possession got a good shot, but not a good result. And Utah Valley now has dropped off to 35% on 8 out of 23 from the field.
You know, Utah Valley's down 11, and it seems like it's been all New Mexico State. If they can get one more basket and cut this down to under double digits going into halftime, they're actually in pretty good shape.
Berry misses the three. Napawe powers up the follow, and not much Nelson could do.
Wow.
He would have risked his third foul if he tried to challenge that, and good luck if he had tried to challenge
I tell you, Napawe, that's what you call being the tallest hog at the trough there. Man, what a show of power and size. He is a big man, 6'10". They list him 268. Let's go ahead and call it 270. I mean, that is a big, big human being.
3 of 3, 6 points, 3 rebounds for Chili Napawe from Johannesburg, South Africa. And Eldridge leaving after he picks up his second foul. They have 3 team fouls. He has 2 of them with 38 seconds in the half.
Napawe, we talked about, missed 12 games with his injury. He's coming off his second double-double of the season. I think Dick Hunsaker doing a very smart thing here to take the last shot and keep it at 13. Again, if they can score here and it's 11, I talked about trying to get it to single digits. They're not going to be able to do that, but I think this is a smart move by Coach Hunsaker.
10 seconds, 6 on the shot clock. The crowd around Marcel Davis gets it up with 2 seconds from the corner. And a quick timeout called by the Aggies with 2/10 of a second.
I thought they would go and see if that actually got out of his hands before the shot clock expired, but there's no question in their mind. That was a great last possession. Terrific shot by Marcel Davis to transfer from Utah State.
And no timeout called by Menzies. Stoppers were just to make sure the officials had the time right, and they did, and the basket gets Utah Valley within 11. Could be worse. They have turned it over 11 times, outscored off those turnovers 14-5 and a 33-22 first half lead for New Mexico State here at the Pan American Center in Las Cruces, New Mexico.
Budget, so don't accept defeat. Now you can get covered and still buy me treats.
You take care of your pets. Now it's their turn to take care of you. Visit getcoveredamerica.org to learn about your health insurance options.
I'm a teacher. Let me tell you what I make. I make learning a privilege, not a chore, and frustration a tool, not an obstacle. I make working hard seem easy and giving up impossible. I make an old subject feel like a fresh thought and unconventional methods common. I'm a teacher. I make more.
Get your ass suit. You're not sitting here. Yes, I am. Move. Give it to him hard. No.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Why you stabbing me with it? No.
They want to help,
Ow.
but don't know how. Teach your kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice. And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
We couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Halftime at the Pan Am Center, such a tough place to play for opposing teams. Dave and Joe, thanks very much. I kind of want to be there, though. I want to be there for What Will They Do Next? That's New Mexico State's new marketing series at home games. So far, they've given away a live turkey, all right, had a pie eating contest, handed out 10 42-inch HD TVs. They've had a mascot game and given away 3,000 Lou Henson bobblehead dolls. What will they do next? The marketing is working, at least for me. Hello there and welcome into Halftime on ASN. We have nothing to give you whatsoever except for knowledge and information. Mark Adams will supply the knowledge. Next segment, I've got some information here for you. That's because our weekend of college hoops is not quite done yet here on ASN. In fact, we have a 3-pack of games for your viewing pleasure tomorrow, starting at 1 p.m. in the Patriot League. Lafayette and Lehigh women from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Both the Mountain Hawks and the Leopards trying to keep American from just running away with this conference. At 3 o'clock on Sunday, it's more women's basketball. Northeastern at Elon from the CAA. Elon women faring just fine, thank you very much, in their first year in the Colonial. And then we end the 8-game weekend in the Ohio Valley. 6 conferences represented this weekend, by the way, on ASN. It's a men's tilt with Belmont at Tennessee State. Belmont, remember, an NIT quarterfinal team from a year ago. Tennessee State still looking for its first conference win of the season. Coming up, we hear from our hoops expert, Mark Adams. Stay with us. It's Halftime on ASN.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
You wanted to be a teacher when you were little, but things changed. Teaching didn't seem that cool anymore. So you decided to become something else. But what would your 12-year-old self say? Amazing things are happening in teaching, so it's time to put it back on your list. Don't try to convince yourself otherwise. You had it right the first time.
You got a king?
Go fish. In your face, in your face.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
Hi, I'm Mark Adams, and thank you for joining me as we celebrate
some of the great accomplishments of our partner conferences across the American Sports Network College Basketball Nation. Let's start with news and notes from the Atlantic 10. How about VCU as they continue to climb the polls on their 10-game winning streak? Briante Weber, the big reason why VCU has been so effective. He leads the country in steals at 4 steals per game. Man, that kid is dangerous defensively. In the Big South, Coastal Carolina, they've shot over 42% from 3. And how about Jaleel Roberts of UNC Asheville? 3.5 blocks per game over the last 6 games. He's dominating people inside. In the Colonial Athletics Association, Northeastern was 2-0 last week. 5 players were in double figures in the big win against the College of Charleston. Addison Spruill from Wilmington averaged over 28 points per game and 7 rebounds per game. That is production. Conference USA, last week La Tech was 2-0. 22nd straight home win. That's the 6th best in the country. They are so good at home. Marquand Botley of FAU. They were 1-1 last week, but he averaged over 22 points a game. Big numbers. And look at the assists. 4 assists per game. That is distributing the ball. In the Horizon League, Trey Lewis of Cleveland State, 21 points per game, 5.5 rebounds per game. He went 7 for 13 from three-point land versus the Youngstown State Penguins. How about Oakland at 1-0? A big win over Green Bay, 69-66. In the Ivy League, Yale was 1-0. 2 double-doubles as they defeated Brown, 80-62. Justin Sears and Duran as well. Both those guys went for double-doubles. In the OVC, Eric Stutz of Eastern Kentucky averaged over 17 points per game, 7.5 rebounds per game. He went for a double-double versus SIUE. Congratulations, Rick Byrd of the Belmont Bruins. 700 career wins. He's one of the best coaches in the country. A lot of people don't talk about. I'd never want to coach against that guy. He is so, so good. Congratulations, Rick. In the Patriot League, Colgate, they're only 8-11 on the season, but 5-1 is their best league start in the Patriot League since 1997. And how about Tim Kempton, one of the best bigs in the Patriot at Lehigh? 25 points per game, 13 rebounds. He had 2 double-doubles last week. In the Southern Conference, Devin Sibley of Furman. Furman went 1-1, but Sibley's numbers were stellar. He went 7 for 8 from the three-point line. How about Wofford at 2-0, undefeated at home? They are now 8-0 this season. In the WAC, Jarrell Flora of Seattle. They had some big wins this week, 2-0. He averaged 16 points per game, 6 rebounds. Seattle came through with a huge win over New Mexico State. Seattle held their opponents to 49.5 points per game and shot 39% as far as holding their opponents defensively. That's stellar defense for Seattle. Those are the news and notes around the American Sports Network. I'm Mark Adams. We're proud of our network. We're proud of our partners. We're proud of their performances.
This is not about baseball. It's dedication. It's commitment. It's about developing a mindset in our youth. A mindset that transforms into true character. Disadvantaged, distressed, new fields envisioned as new opportunities. Instructors teaching life. Lessons learned. This is not about baseball.
And back in Las Cruces, where New Mexico State had as much as a 14-point lead in the first half. It's 11-33-22 as we welcome you back. Dave Barnett along with Joe Cravens, and the storyline has been the same really from the opening tip. It's can Utah Valley avoid turnovers, get shots off. They had a good start from Mitch Brunel, and he last scored with 15:26 to play. They need to get him started early in the second half.
Well, remember at one time Mitch Brunel had 7, the Aggies had 7, and boy, the Aggies have located him in that zone defense. The tremendous combination of size and athleticism just giving the Wolverines all kinds of problems tonight.
Brunel did have a good start with 3 of 4 in the first 4 minutes and change.
Well, as I said, he scored the first 7. That's the first shot of the game there. He's the Wolverines' leading scorer, leading rebounder. He has a great feel for the game, but as I stated earlier, the Aggies kind of tagged him and kind of put the stops on him. The guy who's really having a big night for the Aggies right now, D.K. Eldridge, coming off a game where he was 1 of 10 and only had 2 points in that first half. He goes 4 for 7 with 10 points, but doing a great job of getting the ball distributed as well and playing great defense at the front of that Aggie press.
The Aggies went a little cold late in the half, or the lead would be maybe quite a bit bigger than 11. They ended at 39%. 4 of 11 from 3, 19-16. They dominate the glass with 4 offensive rebounds by Pascal Siakam, the story. Back in Las Cruces in a moment.
This is the moment I knew his future had no boundaries.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
Get caught buzz driving, and you could do some hard time.
Craig, knock it off.
Sorry, Mom. It could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. And that could set you back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
If you don't fix them, sparks from dragging tow chains could cause a wildfire, and that could be scary.
Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Oh! Checking your fantasy league?
Nah, just my 401k statement.
Nice. Where'd you find the money for that?
I've just been saving a little every month.
I can't seem to save anything.
Well, what about all this? What about the money you're spending?
What money? It's gone before I can get my hands on it.
I got a pizza for a Todd.
Hey, can somebody spot me?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind.
It's 547.
Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
Watching the American Sports Network.
Just about set for the second half with New Mexico State trying to extend its home dominance. They have won 5 straight overall here, 23 straight against WAC opponents here at the Pan American Center. And 39 of 43 since the start of the 12-13 season. Utah Valley was able to make the Aggies cool off a little bit in this 4 of their last 5 shots going into halftime. But had all kinds of predictable trouble dealing with the New Mexico State size advantage and athleticism, the full-court press. But Wolverine ball to start the second half.
Dave, I think you summed it up best. You said, well, it could have been worse, and it could have been much worse. They're down only 11. They've made 8 turnovers. If you're Dick Hunsaker, people are always asking what adjustment do you make. you make this adjustment. Let's don't turn it over. Let's shoot it in a little bit because they're playing hard. They're defending pretty well. They've held the Aggies to 33 points, a team that just came off scoring 85. So kind of the pace of the game is where they want it. They just have to take care of it.
Remy Berry, rebound, put back to Poway. There is really nothing the Wolverines can do to answer that.
No. I tell you, that was, like I say, that's just being bigger and stronger than anyone out there.
6'10", 268.
When Poway just put his body on the freshman Googler there and kept him from even making an attempt to rebound with him that last time.
Googler missing a layup. Freshman who is 6'8", the biggest body that the Wolverines can roll out there. This is their first 2 shots of the half.
Utah Valley comes out in their man-to-man defense. They played about 5 possessions of 2-3 just to give the Aggies a different look.
Ian Baker drops it in on the pull-up. The other thing that could be worse is for New Mexico State, Remy Berry and Daniel Mullins have been limited to 1 basket apiece, the top 2 scorers. Pulling up an air ball by Marcel Davis. That's 2 good looks in a row.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say they've missed 1 right at the basket and 1 in the paint. And again, you get the feeling when you're faced with this size and athleticism, you're always looking over your shoulder, kind of thinking someone's going to come from the weak side. And it makes you play at a different speed.
Siakam owns the offensive glass. 5th offensive rebound. 6th of the game. He gets the follow. Dick Hunsaker gets the timeout, and the new biggest margin is ballooned to 17 in just 2 minutes and change here in the second half.
Discover something new at New Mexico State University, where students find themselves, who they are, and what they want to be. Find new champions, new experiences, new challenges, new opportunities and horizons. What will you discover at NMSU? Dedicated professors, the perfect college experience. Make lifelong friends and lasting memories. New Mexico State University, all about discovery. Apply today at nmsu.edu. That's nmsu.edu.
Celebrate the soggy shoes and the slow starts. Celebrate the lessons learned along the way. These are the wins. Not the shiny, nail-biting kind. These are the last a lifetime kind.
Don't worry, 74 people were picked before me in the NFL draft.
To fight childhood obesity, United Way and the NFL are helping kids play at least 60 minutes a day.
Okay, time for the team obstacle course. Yay!
What this place needs is more healthy kids. To get involved or donate, go to unitedway.org/play60.
Now I get it.
The Aggies score the first 6 points of the second half. They open up a 17-point lead, and they can throw up pretty much anything and hope that Poway and Siakam can go get it and put them back in.
Well, I said in the first half, their best offense may just be to throw it up there on the glass. They were +6 in the regular season in the rebounding department. That has ballooned to +10 in WAC games. And Nepalway, again, not really a high flyer, but he carves out such an area to rebound from at that 268. And then everything that he doesn't get, his teammate Siakam comes in and gobbles up. The Aggies have changed their press now from a 2-2-1 to a hard first trap one and done type situation, and then back into their matchup. Boy, Siakam covered so much ground. He was the point on that press, and once that ball got ahead of him, he sprinted like a 6'2" guard and got back in position.
Zach Nelson Turns it over, and Poway got a hand on it, knocked it over to Ian Baker.
Well, if you want to see how active Siakam is, just zero in on him on this next defensive possession. He is all over the place in that zone matchup, and there he is with another. He won't get credit for that offensive rebound, but he saved it, and that should have been another offensive rebound.
Baker, three-pointer, his second. Ian Baker, a 50% shooter from beyond the arc. The lead is 20 in the second half. The Aggies have all 9 of the points.
Well, Baker made a big mistake that time going under that ball screen, and the Aggies just stopped that time behind the ball screen and shot it in. You're going to have to go over the top of that if Williams is going to use that ball screen.
Menzies getting Daniel Mullins in for Baker. Mullins in the first half, his second game back, remember, after missing 6 weeks with a broken finger. 1 for 7 and not credited with a steal. Took a lot of high difficulty shots on drives, though. Nelson, air ball 3 from the corner, and Zach remains scoreless. Thursday, he had 20 points and 8 rebounds. For that, 20 points, 11 rebounds against Grand Canyon. They miss his productivity in this one. The Poway, offensive foul. And Nelson played a good part of the first half with 2 fouls. He draws this charge.
Watch Dante Williams using this ball screen. Sorry, that was the wrong play there. The Aggies now back on attack mode in their full court press.
Dante Williams drops in a three-pointer, and nearly 4 minutes it takes for the Wolverines to get on the board here in the second half.
Dante Williams with back-to-back three-pointers now to kind of keep his team within shouting distance here. The Aggies start off a 7-0 run to start this half.
Mullins goes up, gets his own miss, and gets fouled. 15:40 remaining in Las Cruces. The Aggies have raced to a 17-point second half lead. (42-25). The Aggies had briefly a 20-point lead here early in the second half. Around the WAC, easy win for CSU Bakersfield over Chicago State. And Seattle, which started playing, tied at 3-1 with New Mexico State, blown out by UMKC 75-55. While UT Pan American knocks off Grand Canyon by 1. So New Mexico State playing for sole possession of the WAC lead if they hang on here.
Tough weekend for Grand Canyon, coming here and getting blown out 85-63, and then going down to Texas Pan Am and losing a heartbreaker.
Daniel Mullins at the line. Marvin Menzies says he is freaky with NBA level athleticism and aggressiveness.
One of the most amazing things, stats that I read about him, he has 2 20-point games this year. Remember, he set out 12 games. He has one game where he had 15 rebounds against Stetson. He's only 6'1", 170. You know, he's not, you look at him and he doesn't look like, you know, that big a physical specimen, but boy, he can fly.
It's Brunel trying to get himself going. And out of bounds to New Mexico State, and Brunel has now been scoreless for almost exactly 30 minutes after he got their first 7 points of the game.
Brunel got that one right to the basket and ran into 2 big, long Aggies when he got to the basket.
20 minutes, I should say, for Brunel's scoreless streak. Eldridge shovels it underneath, and the Poway powers it down. He has 10.
The Aggies running a double low post and then kind of a runner along the baseline, getting the ball to either Eldridge or Mullins along the baseline, letting them just get in attack mode then against the bigs on the back of that press, or back of the zone, I'm sorry.
Brunel able to get that shot banked in over into Poway.
That's a tough finish there. He's missed some pretty good looks tonight. That may be the toughest basket he's made. Now watch the Aggies run one guard along that baseline there and try to find a soft spot in the zone.
Here on the Eldridge three-pointer. Nelson, long outlet. Brunel stripped by Mullins. That's how you become the all-time leader in steals.
You know, he's got them in various ways. He's taken them out of guys' hands like that. He's shot the gap, as coaches would call it, on passes. He has a real instinct for picking your pockets.
Not many chances for Utah Valley to run. They take advantage here, and Dante Williams with 12.
Dante Williams really coming into his own now. Junior college kid out of L.A. Pierce College. Not only shooting it in from the perimeter, but getting it to the basket in a hurry. The Philadelphia native. It usually takes a junior college kid, you know, a handful of games, maybe 12, 15 games, and he's really coming on for the Wolverines.
Cross-court feed to Berry all alone. Remy drops in a 3. The Wax leading three-point shooter came in at 52%.
Fairly quiet night tonight, coming off a game where he just missed his third double-double of the season with 14 points, 9 rebounds. He has 18 double-digit scoring nights tonight, but he's going to have to hustle to get to double digits tonight.
Berry missed his first 4 threes. Brendan Evans bothered by Napawe into the miss from in deep.
Napawe doesn't have to do anything tricky on defense. Just stay between your man and the basket with that great size and long arms, and just make the Wolverines try to score over him, just exactly what Zach Nelson tried and couldn't complete.
Mullins turns it over on the drive this time, stolen by Brunel. Williams going baseline, double clutch into a miss, and Napawe kicks it out. Here's Eldridge.
I talked about turnovers kind of being a little bit of an Achilles heel for the Aggies, averaging over 14 turnovers. They only had 9 against the against Grand Canyon College in a game. They scored 85, which means they were pretty efficient, scoring that many points on 9 turnovers. They've had 3 games this year where they've had 20 or more turnovers.
Mullins for 3. Yeah, that misses everything. At the other end, again, the Wolverines able to run and get a slam by Mitch Brunel.
Well, that was just poor transition defense by the Aggies there. I think Mullins, I talked about being in game shape. I think that's showing in his shot. Look at him now walking to the bench with his hands on his hips. Then he was the guy that should have been back in this transition defense here. So I think showing a little fatigue and kind of hurting his team a little bit.
So Marvin Menzies gets the quick timeout call. 11:49 remaining. The lead is 18. It's been as high as 21. Aggies own the glass 30-18 on the offensive glass, 12-4.
Between turnovers and offensive rebounds, and I credit Marvin Menzies playing to his team's strengths. You know, they're so long and athletic. He presses. He obviously encourages offensive rebounding, and they play that great matchup zone. It starts off looking like a 1-3-1. It's a 1-1-3, but boy, great length on those wings, and it just gets you out of your comfort zone.
Jonathan Wilkins has checked in. He goes to Siakam, to Mullins, who's fouled on the baseline drive. And another timeout. 11:39 remaining in Las Cruces. New Mexico State playing for sole possession of first place in the WAC.
It all comes down to this. 14 teams battle their way through the bracket for a chance to punch their ticket to the big dance. Be a part of the madness in Las Vegas, March 11th to 14th. Go all in and witness who goes home a champion at Orleans Arena. The 2015 WAC Men's and Women's Basketball Tournament. Tickets on sale now at orleansarena.com.
Oh, look, a redhead. Staring contest. You still got it. I know.
Come alive with the forest.
The dad was cute.
They were looking right at us.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
Basketball tomorrow on the American Sports Network. The Lafayette Leopards and the Lehigh Mountain Hawks. Action tips off from Stabler Hall at 1 p.m. Eastern. Check your local listings for more details. Dave Barnett and Joe Cravens at the Pan American Center. New Mexico State going for a WAC four-peat this year. They've won 3 straight tournament championships. They're the preseason favorites to repeat. They have double numbers by Eldridge and Napawe, Williams and Brunel doing almost all the scoring for Utah Valley.
Great balance by the Aggies. Now, with Mullins back, if you count his 17 points in his first WAC conference game he appeared in last Thursday, they come at you with 5 double-digit scores. Great balance, as I said earlier in the game. You look for a way to cheat them, or maybe not guard this guy and double this guy. They make it awfully, awfully tough. They are very, very talented.
Well, Mullins 1 for 9 from the field, but a perfect 6 of 6 at the line for 9 points. And as you point out, the first half, that's what scorers do. One way or another, they figure out how to get their points.
They figured out. Mullins, I tell you, he is all over the place. I can see why he gets fouled so much. He just almost plays with reckless abandon, too. The way he rebounds, the way he takes the ball to the basket. And he, again, finds himself at the free throw line, as do his teammates in general. New Mexico State shoots a lot of free throws.
Utah Valley tonight has not shot very many free throws. In fact, they shot one and that was by Dante Williams in the first half for a 3-point play. He's going to shoot his and the team's second and third. I can't remember a game this deep where a team has shot that low a number of free throws.
And I don't imagine that has escaped that guy right there, Dick Hunsaker. 21 years as a Division I head coach. Last year's WAC Conference Coach of the Year. Dick has kind of a unique honor. He was the Mountain West Conference Coach of the Year back in 2001 as the interim coach at University of Utah in the absence of the late Rick Majerus.
All alone is Berry. He's been alone quite a bit, but that's only his third make. Second three.
Not only can Berry shoot it in from there at 6'8", you could even find him in the zone with that size. He has a tendency to shoot over smaller guards.
Yeah, this will be a foul on Ian Baker, and it'll be a 3-point foul. Dante Williams does a good job getting him up off his feet.
Nice.
How open was Berry?
Nice ball movement. Mitch Brunel a day late and $1 short getting to Berry out there. I'm not sure he could have been a step or two quicker, and it would have made a whole lot of difference.
Williams career high 23 Thursday. 7 of 8 from the field, 5 of 6 from the line. He made all 4 of his threes. He has made all 4 of his free throws in this game.
Been very impressed with this kid. A great middle game pull-up, a great shooter. He's stopping behind screens to shoot it in, and that time kind of an NBA move, getting himself to the free throw line, a shot fake and leaning in.
Talked about the low number of free throws for the Wolverines. New Mexico State has only shot 7 themselves. They've made all 7.
I was a little surprised at that. They normally get to the free throw line quite often. Just as that left my mouth, I looked down and realized they'd only shot 5 tonight.
So the lead is 18.
Utah Valley in their, I think they're actually in a box and one right now, where kind of matching up. I talked about the Aggies putting that baseline runner on the going short corner to short corner. The Aggies are just, the Wolverines just matching him up and playing out of a box and one defensively.
Siakam, another offensive rebound.
And he's got a multitude of those flat-footed. He just seems to have a great knack for being where the ball is, and he has, as I mentioned, a great set of hands.
And finds the open man. This time it was Jonathan Wilkins who was all ready to go up and slam that down, but he got fouled. 7 offensive rebounds for Siakam.
Well, watch this great catch and pass over the top of this zone at 6'9". Now see, someone like Mitch Brunel could not have made that pass because he doesn't have that length. Mitch Brunel from the Wolverines, their leading scorer and rebounder, could have caught that ball there and not turned and found that cutter because he's 6'5". This kid, Siakam, at 6'9", and he's got arms on him like a well rope from here to there. He just turned and threw it over the defender and found Williams cutting to the basket.
Jonathan Wilkins from France by way of LaPorte, Indiana. That was the first missed free throw for either team. We played almost 30 minutes.
Jonathan Wilkins, 10 starts in the Poway's injury and absence. That's just going to make the Aggie bench that much stronger with him getting that type of experience.
Jaden Jackson from Straight On, out of Salt Lake City and Salt Lake Community College, junior. And Dayon Goodman, the freshman from Salt Lake, has come in for the first time. Porter Kunsaker.
Watch the Aggies when they catch it up high. I mentioned in the first half, Utah Valley not guarding either one of the post players when they catch it on that ball reversal, kind of doubling down low. But you can bet they're going to guard Berry when he catches it on the frame.
One of the few times for the shot clock to become a factor. Baker hits the leader. And he in with 10.
This kid has really upped his game, as I talked about earlier, averaging 9.9 in the regular season and almost 14 in WAC play. With Mullings back, they have a terrific 3-guard rotation now.
Boston Gubler misses everything on the jump hook.
I'm not sure that was as much of a shot as it was a throw there. That was what I call a DNDI. Did not draw iron on that one, but feeling the presence of those long athletes playing behind him.
Eldridge is wide open in that left corner. The left corner has been unguarded much of the night for the Aggies. Williams missing, tapped around to Brunel. And that one touched last by Gubler. Well, the official's going to confer, make sure they agree on this. if I heard right, maybe lip read right, I think one of them is saying that Ruby Berry kicked the ball, and that is the call, and it's going to remain in Utah Valley's possession. So the Berry kick ends up being the prevailing decision, and he checks out along with Baker.
Good bit of officiating there, making sure they got it right. It'd been pretty easy in the game. It's turned into almost a 20-point lead just to let that one go, but I appreciate their effort of getting that one right.
A miss by Darius Hamilton in for the first time, a 6'8" junior from San Antonio. 57-38, 8:10 to play.
Remember, for the Wolverines, this is their second game on this road trip. Their first game Thursday night was down at Edinburgh, Texas, and I'm not sure how you get from there to here in terms of bringing your team. Dick Hunsaker said it took 12 hours. And when you get up early after a Thursday game where, you know, you've been out kind of late to get settled down and come here, I think maybe the Wolverines are showing a little bit of fatigue and road weariness right now.
Eldridge hits 12 hours. You could almost paddle your way straight up the Rio Grande in about 12 hours. I doubt that's how they got here.
No,
they could.
But I think I can't remember where he said they flew through to get here. But again, that mileage-wise, that may not be so far from here, but to get here via an airplane, it takes a kind of a roundabout route.
Well, my guess is that was probably McAllen Airport to Dallas to El Paso and then the bus ride. Yeah, that sounds about 12 hours worth of travel.
Yeah, it wears you down.
7:05 remaining in Las Cruces. New Mexico State by 21. Well, they play on Lou Henson Court here at the Pan American Center for good reason. By far the most successful coach ever to take the Aggies out. At one point had one of the top 4 teams in the country. 1970 team featuring Sam Lacey and Jimmy Collins made the Final Four.
Well, he accomplished a lot here, and that 307 wins doesn't take into how many won at University of Illinois, where he took a team to the Final Four. But the thing I think that defines Lou Henson, over 700 wins, is not how great a coach he was, and he was a great coach. What a gentleman he was. He was a throwback to the days where, you know, win or lose, you shake the other guy's hands and you feel good about it. What a gentleman. I've met Lou several times and always been impressed with what kind of human being he is.
Still around, still comes to the games, and once a year they have him sit on the bench, and that was a couple of weeks ago. Only right on his own court, he should be able to sit anywhere.
I guess they'd probably let him do that more often if he actually wanted to.
There's the first basket by Zach Nelson, the sophomore from Yuba City, California, coming off 20 points on Thursday.
He averages 9 points and almost 4 rebounds, and he's had his hands full taking on this huge front line of the Aggies.
Not much size, not a whole lot of experience for Utah Valley, a lot of transfers. And just overpowered by the preseason favorites to repeat in the WAC, New Mexico State. And as you size them up with your coach's eye, this is the definition, isn't it, of a team that no one would want to play in the postseason.
Oh, wow. I'm telling you, they match up size-wise. They've got very athletic guards. They pressure you both at full court and at half court. No, that's a great point, Dave. If you pull them in the first round, you're thinking, boy, this is not a good matchup.
Well, in last year, San Diego State was fortunate to win in overtime in the first round.
Remember, Utah Valley State won the WAC regular season last year and then got upset by Idaho in the conference tournament. Idaho went on to play New Mexico State in the final game. But you're right, they gave a very good San Diego State and a very well-coached San Diego State team all they wanted in that first round.
Wow, what happened there? Daniel Mullings was 7 for 7 at the line, and then Ayers is 8th free throw.
He shot that 15-foot free throw about 14 feet 6 inches, didn't he? He missed that one badly.
Zach Nelson just picked up his 3rd foul. He takes a seat.
Really, the score and the pace, it kind of has favored Utah Valley. New Mexico State only 60, but the problem is Utah Valley's having a hard time, has had a hard time all night generating any kind of offense.
Real bad luck there by Jaden Jackson. That 3-pointer had 2 full tours of the rim and came out on him. Wolverines 36%, 42% for New Mexico State. Off shooting nice by the top scorers for the Aggies, Mullings and Berry. Mullings, this is again cleaned up again by Chili Napaue, 12 points.
And once again, he just put that 270 on the Utah State matchup there on that rebound and just held him to the floor and got another flat-footed rebound.
Jackson gets this one on the turnaround rattle home. Jaden with 7 off the bench.
New Mexico State content to run a little clock now and not shoot it too quickly, work on their zone offense. As I've said on numerous occasions during this game, their best offense is what just happened. Get it up there on the rim and let one of these guys go get it like that.
Napaue off the miss by Siakam.
A great feat then by Napaue. He kind of eluded a block out, got around, picked that one up off the ground. Now remember, Utah Valley is in a zone now. And it isn't bad enough to try to rebound man-to-man with the New Mexico Wiener zone. You don't have man-to-man matchups, so they are giving up numerous offensive rebounds now.
Mullings had a staggering toward the basket, lost it out of bounds. A twin tower effect not many college teams can match between Siakam and Napaue.
Napaue, I talked about his quick feet. He also got away with a little shoving his guy out of the way. Not only has he got quick feet, of course, he's just strong as a bull at 268 in there.
Foul called on the inbounds away from the basket on Alex Carr, junior from Birmingham, Alabama. He and Dante Williams, the only Wolverines from east of the Mississippi. They have 6 from Utah, 4 from California, Alabama, Pennsylvania, Texas. Also represented. As we hit 4 minutes to go.
Dick Hunsaker took over the Utah Valley program when it was actually a 2-year Utah Valley Community College. and they played 1 year of junior college basketball while he was there, and then made that transition to Division I, and was a Division I independent for a while, which is a really, really tough tough role to hold, so to speak. So getting into the WAC was a wonderful thing to happen to Utah Valley.
Remy Berry now 3 of 7 from 3, where he leads the conference. Carr short for 3, rebound out to Jackson.
That's also gave Remy Berry his 19th double-digit scoring game this season.
That was very brave on the part of Dante Williams to take it in against those towers and get it knocked right back down his throat. But you admire his ambition.
If you're Dante Williams, who's coming off a game where he's 4 for 4 from the three-point line, you may find a little bit more fortuitous to shoot it from the three-point line as to challenge those big fellas.
Alex Carr with the steal. Brendan Evans's return. And now Williams for his match. One-on-one with Eldridge. Evans, not quite.
There's just not much doing down in the paint there for Utah Valley. That's, like you say, pretty challenging, pretty brave to even try to attempt anything down there.
Not much hasn't worked for New Mexico State tonight.
Well, they're not only very good, they're very, very good in this building. They can stretch you out with Berry shooting from the three-point line, and then here they come.
Do both guys get credit for a block there, Wilkins and Siakam?
Siakam leads the WAC in blocks, and remember, he's just a freshman. I'm more and more impressed with him. He has a great feel for coming from that weak side where all great shot blockers come. It's not the guy on the ball who normally you're asking for a foul usually there. It's the guy who comes one man removed like he did. And as Coach Benzie said, he just keeps getting better every week. He called him a sponge, Dave, when we were talking to him, how he absorbs knowledge and experience.
He's a 3-6 student. And once he got the required classes to be able to qualify academically, the grades weren't the issue, just the classes that he needed. After sitting out last year, he is a weapon on both ends of the floor this year. 1:58 to go.
They're coming. Places, everybody.
Light check. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Everything looks good on our end.
And lights.
Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Cheer for the stumbles. The he shoulda had that's. And the tears that linger. For in those moments, greatness lies. There, you will find the provoked, the determined, the unified. It's in those moments that champions are born.
Okay, so what would you bring to my company?
What do you need?
I need problem-solving skills.
I got through high school without a car, a phone, or a computer.
No college degree, though.
Not yet, but life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
.158 remaining, and New Mexico State will improve to 12-10 overall, 4-1. They'll own first place by themselves in the WAC because they very seldom lose here. That's not counting what will be a win tonight.
Well, pretty indicative of how well they play here. They average 71.5 points a game here and that's down to 64 when they're on the road. So this is home sweet home for the New Mexico State Aggies.
Remy Berry has gotten himself going a bit in the second half. 3 3-pointers. Leading score just under 14 points per game. 7th best in the WAC. From Paris High School in Miami and Loomis, California.
I talked about the fatigue factor maybe playing in here in the second half. New Mexico State shooting 50% for the half, and Utah Valley 31. And I think that, again, I think wear and tear coming all the way up from Edinburgh, Texas plays a big part of that. New Mexico State now with 16 offensive rebounds. 24 points off of those offensive rebounds.
16 offensive boards. That's a few weeks for a lot of teams.
Well, kind of the measuring stick. You want to get 1 out of every 3 misses that you when you're shooting, and you kind of say, okay, we're getting 1 out of 3. That's pretty good. They've missed 32 shots and got 16, so they're getting 1 out of every 2. Which, again, they're generating a lot of offense out of their offensive rebounds.
So both coaches have now cleared the benches. Eli Robinson, Corey Cardwell in for Utah Valley, along with Dayon Goodman. And Braxton Huggins has checked in along with Trayvon Landry for New Mexico State. Landry pulls down the board as we get near the final minute of this game.
New Mexico State remains at home. Their next game with their travel partner, Texas Pan American, next week, and then they go on the road for a couple at Chicago State, at Missouri, Kansas City. But you get to feel, Dave, after getting their 2 first-team all-WAC guys back, that they're hitting stride just about the right time here the last week of January.
Huggins, with the shot clock winding down, draws iron. Raiden Jackson into the corner, and the bucket by Eli Robinson, a sophomore from Provo, with 30 seconds to go.
Utah Valley goes home for a couple now. Chicago State and Missouri, Kansas City. Missouri, Kansas City, a big win tonight for that program.
New Mexico State's final margin, also the biggest lead of the night, 25, as they run away from the Utah Valley Wolverines and extend their WAC home winning streak to 24 straight at the Pan American Center, 69-44, and they take sole possession of first place in the Western Athletic Conference at 4-1, 12-10 overall for Marvin Menzies. Utah Valley falls to 7-11 and an even 2-2 in the WAC. In a game in which they were really simply no match in any measurement for Marvin Menzies. But we'll talk with Marvin when we come back to Las Cruces.
The average text takes your eyes off the road for nearly 5 seconds.
It's a beautiful day out here. Sunny today with light breezes, giving way to clouds in the afternoon. We could see some light precipitation to moderate precipitation later on, followed by powerful storm-like conditions. 90 miles per hour winds are expected. Authorities are asking everyone, stay indoors. Come on, that's it. Let's go.
I'm a teacher. Let me tell you what I make. I make learning a privilege, not a chore, and frustration a tool. tool, not an obstacle. I make working hard seem easy and giving up impossible. I make an old subject feel like a fresh thought and unconventional methods common. I'm a teacher. I make more.
College basketball on the American Sports Network is brought to you by CokeCareers.com.
New Mexico State, a 69-44 winner over Utah Valley, and we are joined by the Aggies head coach Marvin Menzies. And Marvin, there aren't many that a coach can enjoy like this one, where the game is never in doubt, and you get to see on a night where Mullings and Berry work cold for a good part of the time, all the other pieces of your puzzle come together.
Yeah, you know, it's good when you see a complete team and you don't have to rely on a individual, you know, showing up every single night. We had to do that earlier in the season, and now that we've got some extra pieces back, obviously that complements the squad really well. But at the same time, you got other guys that have some experience now that can show up for you.
Coach, I said on a couple occasions, maybe your best offense was just to throw it up there on the glass and let them go get it. I tell you what, you guys just dominated the offensive glass.
Well, they do a good job of that, and we kept talking about how well they do it, and then it kind of kicked in. It was like, well, we got to make sure we're doing that too. So guys did a good job, and you know, the way they front you and play the post, it kind of opens up that weak side rebounding for your offensive players. So our guys are aware of that.
They had to go to a zone because they couldn't contain you in the man, and that even opened up more rebounding lanes for you.
And so, yeah, I was just happy with the way the guys executed offensively, but defensively, I thought we were stellar as well. I mean, I don't know the final. 44 is the final score. That's pretty good.
Well, you held them to I think under 30% the second half. I thought obviously your size and physical nature of your team helps you just wear people down too.
Well, it did tonight.
Yeah, it did tonight for sure.
We'll take it. We'll worry about the next time out. But no, it was a good win for the guys. I was happy to see them play so well at home over these last two games.
Sure.
Where did you realistically expect Pascal Siakam to be in his development at this point? And I mean, the implication of that question is he miles better in just his first year of organized basketball than you had a right to expect him to be?
You know, it's funny. You know, Joe and I were talking about that earlier this afternoon, and when you have a good kid who's a good player and hasn't had a lot of experience, you know, the sky's the limit. And I mean, he's a 3-4 student. He's a sponge on the floor. He's a great kid. One of those kind of guys that shows up in the offices all the time, unexpected. You know, just to watch a little film and get better. So those guys, you know, it's hard to tell how good they can be. And he's very, very young in his overall basketball experience. So I'm optimistic.
Where's his ceiling?
Well, let's see.
Can that even be determined at this point?
You know what? To be honest with you, I think he has a chance to play in the league. It's just going to be a matter of, you know, taking it a day at a time and staying on the grind. Hopefully he keeps his humble demeanor that he has right now, stays hungry. But, you know, I think he has that kind of upside. So hopefully we can get him there.
Coach, I talked about what a great job you've done this year with 2 first-team all-WAC guys out, missing 10 games together, keeping your team together. With those guys back and with the timing, you as a coach, you always think you can help your team peak at the right time. Do you feel like you're kind of on track to do that now?
You know, it's funny. This is my 8th year now. We've always played really good basketball in February and March, and I don't think this year is going to be any different. You know, I don't want to jinx it, but we have progressively improved. And now when you look at your bench having the amount of minutes that they've logged, I think there's a good chance that we could be playing our best ball at the right time, which is what you shoot for.
Well, I love that 3-guard rotation now with Mullings back. My question is, are you going to ever start him again, or are you going to continue to bring him off the bench? I know minutes, all 3 of them will probably get the same amount of minutes, but what a great problem to have right now.
Let me tell you, when you have great character kids that don't care about, you know, selfish issues, it's not a problem.
Sure.
It really isn't. I mean, you can look at our bench and you see guys that were playing 20, 25 minutes, and they're cheering like crazy, and they played 2 minutes tonight. So we got a great family. They understand the paradigm and the way we set up our program in terms of the maturation of the freshmen all the way through to seniors. So I think, you know, as you explain that to them and they understand where they are in their journey, then they get it and they stay all in. And as long as they people stay out of their heads at home, we'll be fine.
Now, remember, you're talking to an old coach. Don't start throwing paradigm and stuff like that around. I know you were an economics major at UCLA.
It's only 3 syllables.
he wasn't at UTA.
Remember who you're talking to now.
Jumpin' Joe.
Marvin, your team's a lot of fun to watch, and I'm sure will continue to be as the season develops. So congratulations for the win. We appreciate your time over here.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for
Always
coming out. Thanks for
Partner,
covering.
yeah.
You too, Joe.
Yep.
We will talk with Pascal Siakam momentarily as we look at the final numbers.
Good luck, man.
Utah Valley held to 34% from the field. The Aggies at 8 of 17 threes. They hold the Wolverines to 4 of 15. There's the dominance on the boards, 41 to 27, 24 to 3 second chance points, 20 to 10 points off turnovers, and a big reason for all that dominance on the offensive glass. Joins us now, Pascal Siakam. Pascal, your coach claims this is your first year of organized basketball. I'm starting to doubt his word. You've been playing since you were 4 years old, right?
No. Yeah, I started like 3 years ago, and you know, it's my first year playing like real organized basketball, and I'm just enjoying it, you know.
How much, growing up in Cameroon, were you able to play to be able to catch on to the things that you have to know, not just, you know, be tall and make athletic plays, but the understanding that you have of the game? How much did you bring with you over here from Cameroon?
Not much, you know, and I think I started playing basketball in like the 9th grade, I think, and I went to a couple of camps, you know, back home, organized by Big Mute. And, you know, I learned a couple of things, and I went to South Africa for another camp, and basically just camps and stuff like that, you know. That's where I learned a little bit, but most of it was just here, you know. I went to Girls Academy in Dallas, and I learned a lot of things there, and then I came here, I redshirted 1 year, and, you know, just being in the gym and working hard every day, and I guess it's paying off, you know. I still have a lot to do, but, you know, I feel pretty good about myself.
Pascal, with Chile Nepalway out for those 12 games, did you feel like you had to do a little bit more to carry the team now? And how do you feel with him back playing next to you at 6'10", 270?
I mean, yeah, when he wasn't there, you know, it was tough, you know. We didn't have all our seniors and stuff like that to lead us, you know, and I just felt like, you know, I had to do that, you know. I was kind of like the biggest guy on the team, and you know, I just had to step up every time on the floor, and I mean, my teammates just kept encouraging me to go hard and, you know, be the leader of the team, you know, even if I'm a freshman, but, you know, make big plays, and I'm doing that. Now that he's back, you know, I feel more relaxed, you know. I can just enjoy myself and play my game, I guess.
Pascal, if you can stay with us, we got to take a quick break. We'd love to chat with you some more.
Okay.
When we come back, we're with Pascal Siakam after a 69-44 New Mexico State win over Utah Valley. Back with more from Las Cruces in a moment.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
I've got a job to do today.
I've got a job to do today.
Have a good first day at work, Mom.
Your donations to Goodwill fund job training programs right in your community.
Feels good to start fresh, right?
Sure does. And like that, you're a job creator.
The next 30 seconds can save you a lot of money. Just do your laundry in cold and stick to full loads. Auto-sleep your computers. Plug your gadgets in a power strip and switch it off when you're done. Headed out? Turn back your thermostat by 10 degrees. And drive sensibly. The more energy you save, the more money you save. Find other great tips at energysaver.gov.
New Mexico State wins 69-44, and we're with Pascal Siakam, the 6'9" redshirt freshman by way of Douala, Cameroon. And I want to have you kind of explain the route that got you here. You, as you said, played in some camps. You went to God's Academy in Louisville, Texas. I live next to Louisville, Texas. I'm not familiar with God's Academy. Is there basketball there?
Yeah, it was like a pretty small school, you know, like kind of private and stuff like that. And I mean, we just had like a prep school and a high school team and stuff, and we were going to a high school, so it was just kind of private and stuff like that. A lot of people don't know about it. We used to play some pretty good teams that back there, you know, but it's not really none.
How did Coach Menzies become aware of you, and how did you become aware of New Mexico State and decide to play here?
I mean, I have my brother played at Vanderbilt. He goes to Vanderbilt. He's a senior there, and you know, all my brothers play. They play basketball here in college and in the United States. So you know, I kind of knew, you know, and when I came, I went to South Africa. You know, I had an opportunity to talk to, you know, a lot of coaches from colleges and stuff, but. And my brother and my family, you know, they were able to make me come in the state. So I came, I went to Dallas, and from Dallas I met Coach Marv, and you know, he was really interested in me, and I mean, I wasn't really qualified because there's a lot of, you know, differences from like school back home and here, and there's a lot of things to adjust. So I had to, I mean, a lot of schools didn't talk to me. So Coach Marv came, and you know, he's just a great guy, and he understood where I came from, and you know, and he just took me, and I came.
In Cameroon, were you aware of how much American basketball were you aware of? I mean, is it televised over there? Were there NBA players that you were able to watch, kind of model yourself after?
Yeah, I mean, we don't really watch a lot of games back home because, you know, we don't have like a lot of the channels that show basketball from here. But like I said, my brothers were here. You know, they play college basketball, so that's kind of how I knew. You know, and from this way, I didn't want to play basketball myself, so it was just like I was more interested in soccer, and then. I just don't know what happened. I just fell in love with the game, I guess.
Well, you're about the tallest soccer player I've come in contact with for a while. It sounds like not only is basketball is big in your family, but also college education. Education in general is pretty big.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, my dad, you know, he passed away like 3 months ago, and you know, it's something that a lot of people don't know, but you know, he passed away 3 months ago, and I've just had my teammates there. They were there for me the whole time, and my dad just worked so hard, you know, to send all these kids here and get education and just you know, do what we want, you know, like we love basketball, you know, and we wanted to go to school and play basketball. That's all he wanted, and I'm just glad that I'm doing that right now for him, you know, watching me, you know, above.
Will you go back to Cameroon in the off season, or are you here for good now?
I plan to go back. You know, it's always good to go back and kind of, you know, kind of give back. You know, I come here, I learn a lot of things, and I hope that one day, you know, I can go back home and do some good things for my country.
Well, you know, people in Africa learn probably a lot about basketball because of what Akeem Olajuwon did coming over from Nigeria, Manute Bol from Sudan. Maybe you can provide some of the same kind of identification for kids in Cameroon?
Hopefully. You know, we have Luke Baumute, we have Joel Embiid, who went to Kansas, and now he's in he play, I think he's injured right now. But, you know, we have a couple of guys that won. I mean, I would be glad to do that. You know, it's the goal at the end of the day. But, you know, I'm just going to keep working hard, and hopefully I can make it happen.
Well, you're fun to watch. You're not fun, I'm sure, to play against or to try and coach against. But watching your development has been really something. So congratulations for that, and best of luck as the season goes on.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Pascal Siakam.
Thank you, Pascal.
Part of a 69-44 New Mexico State victory as they take over sole possession of first place by a half game over UMKC. Pascal finishing tonight with 9 points and 11 rebounds, and the vast majority of those on the offensive glass. As New Mexico State wins its 24th straight WAC home game here at the Pan American Center. New on the job is the new athletic director at New Mexico State, an alum, a former baseball star, member of the Aggie Hall of Fame. Mario Mocha, congratulations, and thanks for squeezing us into, your first week on the job?
It's been
weekend on the job?
It hasn't been too long. It's been a little hectic, kind of drinking from a fire hose, but it's a good thing. You know, being an alum, it certainly is gratifying just to, reconnect with all the folks that you remember from the town, and just a lot of excitement. And tonight, we saw a little bit of that.
Well, I kind of watched you today. I thought you did everything except sweep the floor and sell popcorn at the game tonight. Boy, you were handing out stuff. And like you said, drinking from a fire hose. This first week must be somewhat overwhelming.
Well, you know, one of the things, I'm, kind of an external background from Southern Illinois University, worked at Mizzou for 8 years as well. So that's something I like to interact with the fans. I like to, just see, little things to change here and there, but just kind of take in the atmosphere.
Well, you were doing a good job tonight. You should have wear tennis shoes as much as you were moving around.
I left the referees
here.
alone, if you noticed. I didn't say anything about the officiating. I thought it was top-notch.
Well, notice you had the baseball team honored and the softball team brought out. Talk about what led you to come back here. Was it a goal in your career at some point to be able to maybe work your way back here to Las Cruces?
Sure. You never know if these jobs are going to come open, especially at your alma mater. But there's only 132 Division I football jobs. New Mexico State has long had tremendous basketball. When I was a student here, going to NCAAs, Sweet 16s. But those football jobs are really difficult. So when one comes open, a lot of people are interested, and one at your alma mater, you become super interested. So I feel very fortunate that it all worked out. So that was what was important to me, and it's nice to have a nice, warm homecoming reception.
Well, besides unpacking and reintroducing yourself to everybody around here, what's your first order of business for the athletic department?
Well, at times when you come in and take something over, there's a lot of uncertainty. You want to interview the staff, all the head coaches, and we're doing that right now. And there's just a hunger, from locally in Las Cruces, but around the state as well, not just Albuquerque, Santa Fe, to get out and meet the alums. They want to come out and support. The Pan Am Center used to be rocking. It used to be sold out when UNLV came in here and some of those old Big West, powerhouses. And that's what we need to get. We're a town of 100,000 people. It's a great institution. You get that really college atmosphere here. It's not a commuter school. So, our big goal, right now is to fill this place up. There's a lot of energy tonight, but hey, if you double that crowd, the roof will come off this place. So that's a big thing. The other thing is football. We compete in the Sun Belt Conference, and we really need a lot of support in football. We got to increase our season ticket base, annual giving, and we've got a great coach, Doug Martin, who's doing a phenomenal job. Had the #1 recruiting class in the Sun Belt last year, building on that this year. So there's an awful lot of stuff to do. Marvin hopefully will make my job easier by winning some ball games. Obviously, all the players are back now, so it's a big positive. And the women are on a roll. I think they won 10 out of the last 11 in first place. So having your two basketball programs in first place right now is a nice thing to walk into.
Well, you make me tired just listening to you. I'll tell you. Yeah, I mean, you got a lot of stuff going on. I appreciate your energy, and I've heard nothing but wonderful things. I've only been in town 24 hours, and I've heard your name mentioned not in vain in a very good way.
Yeah.
From people from the hotel to people around here, and I can attest people are very excited about having you here.
Well, I appreciate it, and that's part. Athletics is fun.
Sure.
That's the fun part of the intercollegiate experience, and hopefully, that's our job, in the administration or the athletic director in some ways, to be the head cheerleader, remind everybody, you craft these little stump speeches. I reminded everybody, there's 356 Division I basketball programs, only 29 of them went to the NCAAs for the last 5 years. Only 22 of them went 3 years in a row, and that's the New Mexico State Aggies.
Sure.
So, that's something we need to remind people about and tell people about, because I think sometimes, no matter what community you're in, you think, we're not so-and-so, this and that and the other, but you got to remind people of all the good things that are going on here.
Sure.
That's exactly right. Yep.
As much as you could, I think if you can get Pascal Siakam out to kind of meet people around the community, I mean, what a story he is, and what a magnetic personality he is, and to have the game that he has in his first year of organized American basketball still is just mind-boggling.
It is, and, especially Marvin has got a lot of international flair, obviously, and a lot of those guys have a tremendous personality. I'm just getting to know the guys, but they're very personable. The fans love them, and obviously Pascal has got a it's a cliche, but he's got a tremendous upside as a freshman with a leaping ability, touch around the basket. I mean, I think he was a steal, and I'm sure some people are watching saying, "Wow, how'd they get that guy?" So we're very excited about his future. We finally have all the guys healthy now, so I think we're kind of poised to hopefully make a little run. But to have those freshmen like him is a tremendous asset for the future.
Well, we appreciate your spending some of your busy first weekend on the job with us. So congratulations for that, and best of luck as you continue on here at New Mexico State.
Well, thanks a lot, and I appreciate you guys.
Sure.
You know, for our school, for our institution to have national television exposure is tremendous, not only for us, obviously the Western Athletic Conference, so I appreciate everything you guys do.
Absolutely. Our pleasure. Mario
Thanks a lot.
Mochin, new athletic director,
Yeah,
an alum, member of the Hall of Fame here, and now in charge of the athletic department. Let's check in now with Mark Adams in the studio with a look at the top performers this week from the ASN partner conferences.
Hi, I'm Mark Adams, the primary national college basketball analyst on the American Sports Network. We partner with the Atlantic 10, the Big South, the Colonial, Conference USA, the Horizon League, the Ivy League, the OVC, the Patriot League, the Southern Conference, and the WAC. One of the fun parts of my job is reviewing every week the top stat leaders across our American Sports Network conference partners. Top scorers, let's start with Jalen Riley of East Tennessee State. Averages over 20 points per game. He's number 9 in the NCAA. He dropped 31 against Western Carolina this past week. Damian Lee at Drexel, the number 16 scorer in the country. Kyle Wilson of Army. Army's been a little bit up and down. Kyle Wilson has been consistent. Kiefer Sykes, I think he deserves recognition as a potential player of the year, not just in the Horizon League, but across the country. The number 22 NCAA scorer, he dropped 28 on the Detroit Titans last week. QJ Peterson and Marcus Thornton round out our top 5 scorers in the ASN Nation. The American Sports Network top 5 rebounders. Siobhan Thompson of George Mason, 11.2 rebounds per game. He averages a double-double. He had 11 rebounds against GW. Yusu Endoy of St. Bonaventure, he averages over 11 rebounds as well. He's tied for 7th in the country. Another double-double guy. Vince Hunter of UTEP, he averages 10 rebounds per game. Another double-double guy. The top 3 rebounders are also 3 of the best double-double guys in the country. Jerome Hill and Charles Jackson